because Dick Vermeil coached the way that he coached, and was successful, and he was a hands-on guy and wasn't afraid to get his players to work prior to Sundays when they actually had to go out there and make plays during games. We know that's not the NFL in 2022. We talk often enough, not necessarily here on Birds 365, but when I'm doing shows and talk about other sports like the NBA. Today's players believe that Michael Jordan couldn't play in today's NBA. Yeah, right. Just and a good Wednesday morning, Birds fans. Appreciate you streaming it to Birds 365. You've got Mac and Mac, John McMullen, and Jody McDonald. J-Mac, we're going to get these 2 hours in today. I may fall down at some point during the 2 hours. If I do, I will try and adjust my camera so that you can see my ugly face. Yours truly not feeling at the top of my game. I fear that I got COVID. I haven't taken the test yet, but body aches and cough and everything else. So didn't get much sleep. So I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to play hurt. Reuben Frank's got a good article on NBC Sports Philly today about Eagles that have to stay healthy this year. That it's difficult getting a grasp on how good a player and how much they can contribute because every time you turn around, they're hurt. Well, that's me today. I'm glad that we still have 13 days until camp opens. I'm guaranteeing you I'll be ready to go by the start of camp, but I'm playing hurt today.
Hey, coaches respect that, Jody, and I'm in that category. I respect it. People used to, kill Nate Gary all the time. That guy played a full season with a sports hernia, and the coaching staff really respected him for doing that. Even though he took a lot of hits because he wasn't the best player in the world, and he's limited, but they felt they needed him. I need you, Jody, so I respect that you showed up in front of that microphone.
I am going to suck it up and get it done today. Tomorrow, I don't know. We'll have to be tuned here 24 hours from now. You might
remember, Nate Gary played the whole season, Jody. Remember that.
Man. I don't know that I can carry Nate Gary's jockstrap, but I'm going to try for the 2 hours here today. Hi, John Suarez on JAKIBSports.com. Your latest missive. I truly enjoyed the article about Hall of Fame coach Dick Vermeil, who will be inducted next month out in Canton. And the article was about, although he won his Super Bowl in St. Louis, that Dick Vermeil looks at himself as a Philadelphia Eagle, that this is where he's made his home, even though he didn't achieve the same level of success that he did with the Rams when he took over their team after years of being out of the coaching profession and doing broadcast work. Dick Vermeil is just one of the most popular individuals in Philadelphia sports, not just football, but in Philadelphia sports in the last 25, 30, 45 years. Here's the question I have for you, and you had a chance to talk to him. Did Dick Vermeil hint at what football is like in 2022? Because Dick Vermeil coached the way that he coached and was successful, and he was a hands-on guy and wasn't afraid to get his players to work prior to Sundays when they actually had to go out there and make plays during games. We know that's not the NFL in 2022. We talk often enough, not necessarily here on Birds 365, but when I'm doing shows and talk about other sports like the NBA. Today's players believe that Michael Jordan couldn't play in today's NBA. Yeah, right. Just foolish stances that some people take.
Some people say that? Jeez.
Yeah.
Now I hear the Wilt, but not Michael.
Oh, yeah.
I hear all the time. I tell you my time machine theory. Yeah, that's insane. People got to stop that.
Oh, yeah. John Morant, I think, was the latest to say, yeah, Michael wouldn't be one of the best players
Oh,
in the
my
NBA
Lord.
I wanted to take that sentiment and see what Dick Vermeil would say about the way that the NFL is preparing for seasons this year. You and I talked plenty about the Eagles' belief that less is more, that they don't hit, that they get off the field pretty damn quickly, that their sports science has determined it's better to be healthy and not take chances than to put in extra work to be prepped for the upcoming season. We'll find out if it works for the Eagles this year, but how crazy would it make Dick Vermeil if he had to coach in the NFL in 2022?
We didn't get into him with that because that platform's about sort of his career, but in what he accomplished. But I talked to Dick about that in the past, and he knows the evolution of the game. I mean, in a lot of ways, he never left, even though he retired in I think '83 the first time. Um, and the shift between '83 and '97, whenever he came back to St. Louis, was pretty significant to begin with. I mean, it had already shifted a little bit, not like it is today. So he knows the evolution. And the entire time he was out, sort of out of coaching, he was still very close to the game, very close to the college game.
Yep.
So he was always like very in tune with the evolution of the game. Um, so, I mean, he wouldn't like it. I don't think Nick Sirianni likes it, to be honest. I say that all the time. I don't think he likes it, but you got to play with the cards you're dealt. Is sort, and I think he's that type of coach, and he would roll with the punches and try to utilize as much as possible. What I did find interesting, and I didn't uh, realize this, or I never talked with Dick about this or heard him talk about this, is he was the guy when it came to this ridiculous work ethic. He was the guy. He was the first guy, literally ground zero. He sleeps in his office. He works 100 hours a week. He never goes home. And I always thought that's not healthy. And Dick burned out. I mean, he was only here for 7 seasons. He could have been here a lot more. The billboard never came down, Jody. I said there were popular coaches. They never reached Dick Vermeil status, even Doug Peterson, even after the Super Bowl. I mean, for whatever reason, and it's ironic because Dick is a California guy, he connected with the people of Philadelphia, and it never stopped when he was gone. He always lived here, obviously, and had his main home. But he learned from his stint with the Eagles that he couldn't do everything himself. And when he was with the Rams, he delegated more, and he admitted that. And he let the coordinators do things, and he didn't call plays, and he let other people do their jobs. And he didn't necessarily do that the first time around because he wanted his hands on everything, and he learned that he burned out, and obviously he was able to accomplish what he wasn't able to accomplish here. But, again, I don't think a new generation, we've talked about this before, Jody, the Eagles were awful from basically 1960 when they won the championship to 1976 when Dick showed up. And even then, it took them a couple years, really 78, and then they made the Super Bowl. So we're talking about, almost 2 decades of just awfulness. And Dick Vermeil turned that around. And people at the time were very appreciative of that because they lived through those bad years. And, there's a little bit of, this has been a very good organization since Jeffrey Lurie showed up. You'd like to have more than one. We talk about spoiled. There's a little bit of spoiled here because I think the modern generation doesn't know how bad it could be. The people before Dick Vermeil, the fans of that era, they know how bad it could get. And It was bad.
Doug Peterson, it cost him his job with a bad season 2 years ago, but that's the only non-playoff season. The Eagles have been competitive for a long time, from Andy Reid on to even with Chip. They were interesting. Sometimes they were very frustrating, but they were an interesting team during the short term. The Chip was here, and then Peterson did what he did and got him a championship.
Even some Ray Rhodes. I mean, early in Ray Rhodes.
Yeah, Ray made the playoffs, and got to give him his props for that. You talked about Nick Sirianni, and you don't think he necessarily liked. He's not going to tell you this, but he's not
going to say it in public. But Nick's not, when we joke about the competitiveness,
right,
and the ping pong and the tetherball and the nonsense and the Rochambeau, he's really competitive. And that's why I always say when he's up there and saying, "No, I'm on board with these decisions," I'm one of the ones who doubt that's the case, that he's 100%, that if he had more power, he would be scaling back to the degree they scale back, simply because he's so competitive. He really is that competitive.
And the reason why I think it's an issue for this year's Eagles team is not because that's Sirianni's personality, and you described it well. He's just a stone cold competitive guy. This is not just window dressing when he has these guys compete against non-football skilled games. He just loves to build up competitiveness in his players, and he's got some different ways of going about it. Here's where I have the big issue, and I will be very interested to see, and you'll be down there during the grass time that you guys get as beat writers for the Eagles. They've got some positions that are up for grabs on this year's team.